on the Texas A&M Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome to the Aggie Football Hour, brought to you by Capital Farm Credit, a leader in agricultural financing. Also brought to you in part by Coors Light, Mountain Cold Refreshment. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Visit rudys.com to find real Texas barbecue near you. Twisted Tea, hard iced tea for the 12th man. Please drink responsibly. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas. Through it all. And by Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. Now, the Aggie Football Hour, brought to you by Capital Farm Credit, a leader in agricultural financing. Here's the voice of the Aggies, Andrew Monaco.
We kick off another season with head coach Mike Elko. It's the Aggie Football Hour as we prepare for 2025, the Aggies and UTSA Saturday at 6 at Kyle Field. 5 o'clock with our Memorial Hermann pregame show. From Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station, behind the mic on the Texas A&M Football Facebook page, and joining us all along the network, the Texas A&M Sports Network. It is all powered by Learfield. With the head coach, Mike Elko. Howdy, my friend.
Howdy. Good to be back. It's good to be back.
It's wonderful, and we thank you all for being here this evening, definitely. We have been together through, Fort Worth. And
yeah, we did
Fort
Worth,
Texas,
we did
Houston.
We went out to San Antonio and Austin a little bit.
Yes, we did. You got a chance to see. It's part of talking season, but the build-up and then for camp, Mike, and now it's game week on Saturday. But if you could talk a little bit about this off-season, how it's been, and I guess quite simply, why will Season 2 be different?
Yeah. So first of all, let's talk about the off season for a minute, if we can. It's been a full journey. My wife is here tonight. My wife is now finally here in College Station, so we're excited.
We are still shouting out to Apex, North Carolina.
We'll still shout out Apex, North Carolina. It's always a good shout out, but we're excited for that. We are getting into our house tonight, finally.
Wow.
Thank you to all of the coaches' wives and Kristen Hemphill in particular who kind of helped make that thing happen this week. It was kind of a team effort, everyone chipping in to kind of make it possible for us to get in there tonight. So after the show, we're going to drive down. I'm going to sleep in my new house for the first time.
Awesome.
Since I've been the head coach here. And then it's a really big week. Tomorrow night is opening night. My daughter Caitlin makes her cheer debut for the College Station Cougars as they got their first game tomorrow night. So we're excited for that. And then outside of that, I don't know, is there anything else going on or what?
I'm trying to think. I think Boise plays tomorrow if you want to catch a little football or something.
Yeah, and then listen, with us, it was a really good camp. I said this the other day in the press conference. I think, when you have a veteran team, it can go one of two ways. Sometimes those old guys come back, and it's hard for them to go through year 4, year 5, and kind of check every box along the way, and you feel these moments where it gets really flat or they're not really doing it the way you need them to do it to get it where it needs to go. And our kids have been really professional through camp. I think they handled it the right way. I think our older kids, you look at guys like Will Lee, guys like Cassius Howell on defense, guys like Trey Zune, Armaje Reed-Adams on offense, guys who have played a lot of college football that were still out there working and competing every day, not missing reps, not missing opportunities to build this thing into what we need it to be. And so, they're excited now. I think everyone's chomping at the bit to get out there Saturday and play some football.
You said something on Monday that really resonated was everybody was in year 1 of Mike Elko last year. Yes, Torian came back, but Torian's also learning. Now that leadership emerges from those guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you go into a game week this week and, like every year there's always a lot of new faces. But now at least when you look out there, you can say, okay, this half know what we're doing. This half are learning what we're doing. And so this half can help. Right, and that's a huge asset. Last year, again, it was just everyone was shooting bullets in the dark, right? And you were learning as you went, and you were learning how to do it all as you went, and that's part of year 1 that you can't change. And, but now you're in year 2, and you're starting to see guys understand what it takes, understand what we're expecting of them in practice, understanding what we're trying to get accomplished, and I think everything's at a much higher level.
Does it speak to the program, the number of players you have retained, did not transfer or are coming back with using NIL effectively of being either a late round pick in the NFL. They're betting on themselves, right, this year. Does it speak to the program that they want to be part of this season?
I think so, and I've addressed this a lot. I think this is one of the biggest storylines that maybe went a little bit under the radar going through last offseason is if you go back to 2018 when I got here and just my experience with Texas A&M, we have had a really, really hard time keeping those fringe NFL players here. When you go back and you think about, guys like Tyrell Dodson, guys like Bobby Brown, guys like Damani Richardson, guys like Antonio Johnson, who all left to be 4th, 5th, 6th round draft picks. That's not how it should be. You should want them in your program developing until they feel like they're going to go in the first 2 rounds. And we were able to keep a lot of those guys, from Trey Zune to Armaje Reed-Adams to Cassius Howe to Scooby Williams to Will Lee. Like every single one of those kids would have been drafted last year somewhere, but not, in our opinion, at the highest level they could have been drafted. And the confidence they had in what we were doing, what we were building, a lot of that goes into Coach Moffitt and what we're doing in the weight room. To come back and not only come back to college for another year, but also to come back here and do it with this program, with this coaching staff, I think matters. And I think all of that shows what the internal belief is in what we're trying to get accomplished.
If I think about your tenure where you have been, year 2 has always been a great step at Duke. Here as the defensive coordinator, places you have been, is it an understanding of the players of what you want and it's not so much top down any longer? Is it a testament to the players as well of what they've learned and are applying?
For sure, and it's always a testament to the players. I think, I've said this many times, we'll stand up and we'll take all the bullets and take all of the hits when it doesn't go our way, but we don't make plays, and so when we go out and win football games, it's a credit to them, and when the culture's right, it's a credit to them, and when practice habits and practice tempo's right, that's all of that is, we're speaking messages, but they have to receive them. They have to take each other and hold them accountable with each other, and all of that is a process. And now you're starting to see a much more player-led team, which is obviously something that we need to become.
We will talk about that team when we come back to Rudy's. It's the Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. A reminder, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance wants to provide a trip for 12 to the Notre Dame game on September 13th. To register for the 12th Fan trip, visit 12thman.com/12thfan. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance is a proud corporate partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Come on back. The Aggie Football Hour rolls on from Rudy's. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. Thanks to the generosity of the 12th Man Foundation donors, Aggie student-athletes have the resources to succeed at Texas A&M and beyond. Start your tradition of support today at 12thmanfoundation.com. We continue with the Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. I'm going to start the shout-outs, Coach, with Vicky and Choya Walling from here in Bryan. They used to always be here, but they are listening. They would be here every week. And just checking in, Aunt Joanne has checked in and is wishing you a great season.
Sure,
yeah.
Sure. That's shout out to Daytona Beach, Florida.
Gotcha.
So
thank you
to all the family down there and always following my career.
Howdy, Coach Elko and Andrew from the Italy A&M Club in Tuscany. We will be coming in for the game on Saturday. Looking forward to the season. We need to get the coaches' night set up in Italy for the European Aggies.
So Coach Elko is in. He just needs a date. We got to work with. We're gonna get the Italian club connected with Brandy Douglas.
Yeah.
Make sure you find a way to get in touch with Brandy Douglas, and we're gonna set up coaches' night in Italy.
Yeah.
We're there.
We're doing this. Apologies right now.
As long as Brandy gets to go, she yells out from the crowd.
That's a given. Yeah. You realize Brandy and Michelle are going. You and I aren't.
Yeah, we might not make it, but
we'll be back here talking to them via Zoom.
For sure,
something.
for sure.
Let's talk about this season, Mike. And we talked about that experience. It's exciting to have, if we start on offense, it's exciting to have that offensive line returning. The entire running back room back and healthy, to have QB1, and that's where I want you to start. Marcel Reed, you have mentioned this. Now he knows what goes into being QB1, and it's more than just knowing the playbook, correct?
Yeah. I think there's so much that goes into it. It's the preparation week in, week out. It's understanding how the reps in practice translate and carry over into the game. It's understanding how a game plan gets implemented and installed throughout the week. Situational football, how all of that factors into it. And so there was a lot thrown at him last year. And I don't know that he gets the respect he deserves for the year that he had, given the circumstances in and around what he was doing. And so, he stepped into a team that was having expectations of competing at a high level. At the end of the year, he was starting quarterback for a team that was competing for an SEC championship, and he did all of that in his first go-around. And I don't know that that gets spoken about enough. And so we're real excited to see his development, see him go out there in year two with a more comfortable version of who he is, and obviously an offense that we believe we've done a really good job of building around him, and to watch him go out there and kind of perform at the level we know he can.
If I talk about the running back room, he's got to be one of those running backs for you as well.
Yeah, he's a part of it. Obviously, we want him to utilize his feet as a weapon, but we also want to make sure that he stays healthy and he does the things he needs to do to protect himself, because we have a stable of running backs, and we need him to be able to play for us 12 games and be able to throw the ball at the level that he's capable of too. And so we're kind of asking him to use his legs when needed, but be smart and be intelligent about how he goes about it.
Le'Veon healthy, Ruben healthy, and I don't know if he gets enough credit for coming back at the end of the season the way he did, all the work that he put in there. And to have Amari and EJ.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Jamarian yet, but that's a really good running back room, isn't it?
It's a really good running back room. I hope we're talking about all of them all year, because that's just the nature of the running back position. But, and it's another testimony. They call themselves the stable, and it's a really tight-knit group in there. You've been out there at practice, and you've seen it, and Coach Trooper Taylor does a phenomenal job with the culture in that room in and of itself. And, you have a lot of selfless guys in there that are willing to come back and be part of this. You in this day and age where everybody's talking about how, it's all about self. It's all about what I can get. It's all about getting mine. We have 3 running backs who decided to come back for their last year of college football in this room together, right? And that speaks a lot to what they think about each other, what they think about their coach, and what they think about this program.
Last season, when Chase Basantis went down, you thought he was playing at an all-SEC level. He's back. It's great to see 54, Mark Naboo, over that football. It's great to see Coley back, Trey Zune back. Demetrius Crownover's been a stalwart at there. And as you mentioned, Armaji Reed-Adams. And, there's been some fabulous freshmen as well on that line. But that line will help dictate, because, as you know, you win in the SEC in the trenches, correct?
Yeah, and that group has to be really, really good for us. We'll go about as far as that group will take us, and that's the nature of SEC football. And so they're an experienced group. They're a veteran group. They got to go out and play like it every single Saturday. They got to dictate games. They got to put their will on people, and they got to go out there and make sure they play at the level they're capable of. Because when you win in the line of scrimmage and you win in the trenches in the SEC, you have success, and that's been the case throughout the history of time. And so, from where we were 2 years ago to making a lot of improvements last year to now really having an established group back year 2 and playing together with each other, we have high expectations for them. They got to go out there and they got to play that level.
That communication on that line is underrated, is it not? Or not talked about enough. We talk about the other positions, but sometimes we don't talk about it in the O-line.
No, for sure, and that's where it probably happens. The 2 places where it happens the fastest are the secondary and the O-line, and anytime you're having to read and react on the run and fix and adjust things on the run, it's challenging. And when you factor in the fact that they're doing that while trying to block 290 plus pound defensive linemen across the board in this league, that's not an easy task. And so hearing things, feeling things, understanding how each other works together, those things go a long way, and we got that with us.
I'm using the phrase mix and match, but because whether it's in the spring or sometimes in the fall, when they play other positions, does it allow them to understand those positions and also how that group works together?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a lot easier when you're talking to a tackle about life as a guard, or you're talking to a guard about life as a tackle, or what is the center seeing and looking at, the more experience those guys have sliding around, seeing it from a different lens, I think certainly helps. I think that versatility helps. Some kids are born and bred to play one position and one position only, and we're certainly not looking to create things. This is college football at a really high level, so we're not just moving people to move them, but I do think there's some position flexibility that you're always trying to create. I made the comment about Trey Zune playing center, and everyone was kind of like, and I'm like, well, yeah, we did that like 2 days after I got here, just because I think he has flexibility to do that, and it helps him grow and learn. It helps us always have the best five out there. It helps his future value potentially, if that's what he needs to do at the next level, is learn how to snap, and who knows where that really goes for him. But I just think it all helps, and we just try to look at it through that lens always.
You have talked about in the SEC, you have to have all SEC playmakers. You have to have NFL talent. Do you have that now at receiver? You went out and really, really upgraded at receiver, didn't you?
Yeah, I think we're certainly getting closer. We're certainly closer than we were. I still think it's a process for sure, and we got to stay healthy, and we got to make sure that we get this group through the season. But I think when you look at what Casey Concepcion is capable of doing, I think he's a really, really talented player who we expect to be a playmaker for us this year for sure. When you look at the growth and development of Ashton Bethel-Roman, and that really started about midway through the year last year on scout team when it really started to stand out, and there were some weeks where Will Lee would have told you the hardest kid he covered was Ashton Bethel-Roman running routes on Tuesday and Wednesday. And that was, so you started to see him come to life, and he's really had a phenomenal year with us in the development stages. And then, Mario Craver is the third name that's new. And then now you take in a kid like Terry Bussey going into year 2, and a kid like Isaiah Williams going into year 2. And you feel like you've got a group that has a little bit more twitch, a little bit more separation speed. And so, hopefully that plays a role for us. We talked playmakers on offense. We'll talk about some of those playmakers on defense. When we continue, it's the Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. Howdy, Ags. Look out for opportunities this season for your chance to win Texas A&M prizes from the Texas Lottery. The Texas Lottery proudly supports Texas education and veterans. Play the Texas Lottery today. Scratch 'em tickets and gig 'em. It is the Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's. Saturday, 6 o'clock, the Aggies and the UTSA Roadrunners. 5 o'clock with our Memorial Hermann Health pregame show. With Coach, we talked on offense, and if you talk defense, I think you have to talk playmakers as well on defense. Do you not, whether it's close to that line or whether it's in that back end? A lot of returners, a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge on that defense, is there not? Yeah, I think so. I think, obviously a group that's a lot more comfortable playing together with each other, and excited about getting back out there on the field and taking the next step for what we want this defense to look like and what we want this defense to be. And so, we're excited. We're excited about that group. I would imagine fans going in because they don't know TJ Searcy, they don't know Tyler Onyetum, they don't know Deion Hayes yet. Yep. That D-line possibly could be a question. I think it's a strength. Is it a strength for this team? Yeah, we'll find out if it's a strength, but it's what you have to do. I think everyone looked at what we lost, and listen, if you gave me a choice of keeping them or losing them, right, I would have chose to keep them. There's no doubt about it. All three of them are going to have really successful NFL careers, but that's college football, right? And if we want to be the program that we want to be, our job is to make sure that the drop-off in talent doesn't happen. And I've shared this with a lot of people. This has been another thing that I don't think enough people are aware of. But we've had more NFL draft picks than any other team in this league over the last 6 years since I got here in 2018. And so it's kind of become what we have to do is we have to replace NFL players. And so you look at the names you mentioned, guys that we brought in from the transfer portal. You also look at guys like Cassius Howell and guys like Albert Regis and guys like DJ Hicks and Ryland Kennedy, and you expect all of them to take the next step too, because there's an expectation in that room of what the standard is. And so it's on them to go out on the field and turn themselves into a strength. But certainly we feel good about the pieces that we have and kind of what we put together.
And when you see, it's what you're talking about, when you see Nick and Shamar picked in those early rounds, that's exactly what you're talking about, correct?
Yeah, for sure. And you see them practice every day, and you know what Nick Skirton did every day to prepare himself and get ready, and you know how hard Shamar Turner played all the time, and you know how much work Shamar Stewart put in to building his craft and building himself as a football player, and that's around you every day. And those guys learn from, McKinley Jackson and DeMarvin Leal, who learn from Bobby Brown and Justin Matabike and Michael Clemens, and the list kind of just keeps going. And I just think that's a really good lineage, and we've got to get that spread more throughout our team. For us to get where we want to go.
I'm just going to name a couple of linebackers, but I know you go deeper than that. But to have Scooby back and healthy, and to have Torian in his third year, and he's special. Look, when you're calling plays on that defense as a true freshman, that's special. But that is a heck of a duo at linebacker, is it not?
Yeah, and Torian's been awesome because I think he's got so much more comfortability with the system and the scheme, and he's a kid who flourishes with knowledge. And the more knowledge he has, the more he knows about the finer details, the better he plays. And I think you saw that the back half of last year. I think he certainly would tell you he played his better football in the back half of last year, and that really kind of went into the offseason. And I think you're going to see an even big jump from him, despite the amount of football that he has played to this point. Scooby back, obviously back for one more year to kind of put it all together one more time, healthy, is certainly a dynamic playmaker that we're excited about. And then, you look at what Jordan Lockhart has done, and he's a kid who has really burst on the scene and kind of forced himself into playing reps and playing time with how he has played. Damian Sanford was a very solid football player for us last year, and he'll continue to be in that mix and that rotation. And then we're real happy with freshman Noah McHale, and I think he has a shot to be a guy who's in there in certain roles and certain opportunities. And so, it's good. It's in a really good spot, that position. Coach Bateman's done a really good job of recruiting talent, bringing in transfers, and kind of getting that group settled into what it's become.
Jordan Lockhart, I'll use him as an example. Damian got a lot of snaps. When you put in that work and then you realize I belong in the SEC, does that make that light burn brighter and make you work harder because there's a confidence that you've gained from doing all of that?
Yeah, I always refer to it kind of like a snowball effect a little bit, but what happens is everything's spinning when you get here. And so, at times you're putting in work and you don't see any results, and sometimes, that causes you to get frustrated or maybe not work as hard. And then at some point you hit that switch and your hard work starts to pay off, which starts to get results, which starts to create confidence, which gets you hungry to work harder, which creates better results, which creates more, and it just kind of really starts snowballing for kids. And if you're doing it the right way, that usually happens at some point in the program for each kid, where you just see it like really click, and really he starts to make incremental progress at a much faster rate. And that kind of started to happen a little bit with Jordan in the spring, really started to see it in the summer, and then this fall camp it really exploded for him, and that was awesome to see.
So when fans say, where did he come from? You've seen it all along, right?
Yeah.
Or you've seen the growth.
Yeah, you see the growth, and it's, again, it comes back to, it's a testimony to the kid, because he worked through some things, he worked through some challenges, picking things up and learning the system. And I was looking at this, Coach Bateman showed me this the other day, Jay showed me the text strand he has with Jordan, and it's this like lengthy strand of video shots and questions and video shots and questions, and the kid has worked really, really hard to put himself in position to use his talent, and I'm really excited for him.
That's very exciting. We'll talk about the back end when we get back. Well, actually, when we get back, it's the bridge. We're keeping the bridge.
We're doing the bridge now.
So it's going to be the break, but we're going to hear from Will Lee, because I'm stealing something from Scott Van Pelt at ESPN. He has the best thing I saw today. Well, we're both Maryland Terrapins. It's the best thing I heard. Stunner, it's from Will Lee. But that's going to be the bridge, because, Mike, you go out and you meet everybody.
I'm going to go say hi to everybody.
Yeah,
Thank everybody for coming.
The bridge is next with Will Lee, and then we'll talk about Will Lee and his crew on the back end. So we continue. It's the Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko, and it's presented by Capital Farm Credit. From Rudy's, this is Aggie Football from Learfield. The Bridge and the Aggie Football Hour is brought to you by Capital Farm Credit, the largest agricultural lender in Texas. Capital Farm Credit, together we're better. Best thing I heard this week, the blanket, Will Lee, talking about respect and redemption.
Everybody wants to win, that's the main thing. Like, I'm tired. Everybody's tired of seeing us saying we're going to be an 8-4 team and stuff like that. So it's really disrespectful, and everybody's taking that on the heart. So everybody's coming out here every day working hard and just trying to be the greatest team we can be and then change the history of Texas A&M football. Just finish, play 4 quarters worth of football. I feel like we play 4 quarters worth of football and nobody in the SEC can stop us. Nobody can do anything with us. So that's our goal. Yeah, I have a good feel. Yeah, our offense is very, very explosive defense. We got a lot of vet guys coming back. It's just waiting on the first game so we can show everybody.
And that first game is Saturday at 6, UTSA at Kyle Field, 5 o'clock with our Memorial Hermann pregame show. Aggies score a taste touchdown at your next tailgate with Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise, the official mayonnaise of Texas A&M Athletics. Do dip with Hellmann's and do no wrong. The Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko, presented by Capital Farm Credit, rolls on from Rudy's. When we return, it's Aggie Football from Learfield. When you need a new roof or just have a pesky leak, you want to call on the winning team at Schulte Roofing, home of the Bulletproof Roof Guarantee. Get the best. Visit SchulteRoofing.com. Okay, I've been remiss, so here we go. We go in-state first, Melissa. Anna, Lake Washington. Tyler, Abilene, San Antonio, Eagle Pass. Victoria, Elgin. Georgia's checked in. 2 from the state of Washington. Fayetteville, Georgia, and, of course, the Italy A&M Club, along with Mike Elko. It's the Aggie Football Hour with the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. I would be remiss, of course, a question. It is from Steve. Having been a head coach in a D.C. here, would you rather be in the press box or on the sidelines?
Oh, got to be on the sideline. I think experiencing the 12th man from the sideline is something I would never take away. That was the support you get, what those atmospheres are like. Certainly we had some really, really elite ones last year for sure, but getting to experience that for the first time, I would never go back.
I still have it. Was it LSU where you're on the field? Yeah. Just as if they could get any louder.
No,
they did.
Yeah, they were. We hit some high marks last year for sure. And I said this on the talking circuit that our home average attendance last year was larger than any other SEC stadium. That is pretty impressive from the 12th man. 40,000.
We learned this
week
year, that too. 40,000 in the student ticket poll.
Yeah,
that's larger than some stadiums for some schools.
That is larger than some stadiums from schools.
And it's not just, okay, I have a ticket.
No.
They feel, Mike, and they are a difference when they're in there, are they not?
They are for sure. We actually talked about that after the game today, or after practice today with our guys of we do have quite a few guys that are going to play their first game in Kyle Field, and just how important hydration is. Because when you get in there, the energy in that stadium is just different. Even for guys who've played a lot of college football in a lot of different atmospheres, it's going to hit different when they run out of that tunnel and power starts playing, and just kind of getting ready for it the best we can.
Now this year, you didn't have to lie leading up to the opening kickoff
that was a positive for me. I'm not holding any secrets to my knowledge.
to our knowledge as well.
Yeah, to my knowledge.
So head yell leader Kyler Fife goes through, as all head yell leaders do. They go through practice. How did he handle Trooper Taylor?
I think he did well. I think he learned a little bit about what life's like as a running back. I think he learned that he's probably best suited on the other side of the sideline, and that's no disrespect to him. He did a great job, but we gave him 1 carry on the scout team, and there was probably good amount of carries for him for the day. And, no, he's good. I think he had a really good time, and I think it's really good. I said this. I talked at Fish Camp the other night, and I just think, what the core is on this campus tradition-wise and what that means to this university, it is what kind of stands head-to-head with football. And the core's obviously been around longer and probably even is a little bit more rooted in Texas A&M tradition, but those 2 units at our university mean an awful lot to people. And so anytime you can do things that link them together, I think it's really cool. And so it was nice to have him out with us.
Did you speak at the new student picnic as well in Aggie Park?
I did. Yeah, I went back-to-back nights. And so I went fish camp and then new student picnic. I got to tell you, the energy and electricity at fish camp's a little different than anything else you've witnessed before. Yeah, there's a lot of juice with those guys. You really, I said this when I was leaving, I'm not going to prepare anything next year to talk to them about because they really don't want to hear anything. I just need words. So I can just usually basically take any word and they'll just get fired up and start screaming. And so it's literally impossible to give a bad talk to that group because they have so much energy and excitement.
That makes you feel great.
Yes, it is. It is. And so I think my mom commented that there were some pictures of me laughing on social media that had come out from that camp. And I was like, yeah, I was laughing the whole time because it didn't matter what I said. They just started cheering real loud. And so it's good. It was a good group to go out and talk to.
The other thing, my other takeaway from coaches' nights around the state was some of the Aggies who were hemming and hawing because they didn't know how to ask the question. And you kind of just hit them like, if you have a question, as long as you're ready for the answer.
As long as you're ready for the answer. I've said that from day one. They always ask me, hey, do you want to read the questions before you get on air? No. Do you want us to ask you any certain questions? No. You can ask me anything you want. You just have to be prepared that there's going to be an answer that comes with it, and you might not always like the answer. I think some of the reporters got that this week at the press conference with some of the off-the-cuff comments that were made or questions that were asked. And so, I mean no disrespect, but if you ask, I will answer.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way.
And don't be afraid to ask.
Don't be afraid to ask. You got to step up. The only way if you got a question, you got to step up and ask it.
Absolutely. More of the Aggie Football Hour, presented by Capital Farm Credit. With the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, Mike Elko. We're at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station, and this is Aggie Football from Learfield. Rudy's is a proud sponsor of Aggie Football. Be sure to stop by your local Rudy's or Rudy's.com for some real Texas barbecue. Enjoy 100% oak smoked meats, delicious sides, and Rudy's signature sauce. We continue. It's the Aggie Football Hour, presented by Capital Farm Credit. Our engineers, Kevin Menchow. Our producer back in our Learfield studios is Tony O'Neill, and I do that at 8:48 just in case I forget before the end of the show. With head coach Mike Elko, finally getting a chance to talk about that back end. You got two blankets back there. You've got the blanket Will Lee. You've got the blanket Julian Humphrey as well in that backfield.
Yeah, life is good. Life is good. No, and it's been good. It's been good getting that whole group back. Kind of really getting into the finer details of how we want coverages to look and what we want it all to look like. Ed and Julio Humphrey has been a really good addition for us. He's played a lot of football in this league. Getting Des Ricks back in another year and having him develop, and I'm really excited for him to go out there and play because I know what he's capable of being, and I'm looking forward for him to going out and playing at that level really consistently. Getting Tariq Chappelle back will be a big addition for us, and all of those safeties, very similar to what we talked about with Torrey, and just have a much better feeling and understanding of what we're trying to do back there. And so we're excited for all those guys to get themselves back in there.
Watching those defensive backs with my partner, Dave Elmendorf, a safety.
Yeah, pretty good one, too.
He really didn't miss a game in the NFL. He raved about all the work they put in with Tommy Moffitt.
Yeah.
It really shows, does it not?
Yeah, it does. I think their bodies look better. They look a little bit more physical. I think that'll help them tackle a little bit better and have a little bit more juice in them when they run their legs through things. And so, I'm excited to get out there and kind of show. Everybody is just chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
I think it's just that time. You can say all of the things, and we've all put in the work, and we've all done the things, and now it's time to just get out there and go out there and show it.
So for our final segment, let's talk about UTSA when we do that. That's the opponent on Saturday. And we return. Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko, presented by Capital Farm Credit. It's Aggie Football from Learfield. It is our final segment of the Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko, presented by Capital Farm Credit. One last shout out is hey from Mom.
Oh, hey,
Carol's
Mom.
checked in.
How are you?
Carol's checked in.
Glad you've checked in. A little later than Aunt Joanne, but it's good to see you.
Aunt Joanne wins week number 1.
Yeah, she usually does.
UTSA on Saturday. Their head coach is Jeff Traylor. He is from Gilmer. Gilmer is also the home of former baseball coach Rob Childress.
Oh, I did not know that.
And Rob's going to be thrilled that I mentioned him before Don Henley.
Okay. Okay.
But Jeff Traylor doing a great job with UTSA, and a lot of connections here to Texas A&M.
Yeah, he is. He's doing a phenomenal job with that program, and got a lot of respect for him, the job he does, the program they've built. I think they're an extremely talented team. I think they're set to have a really, really big year, and they're certainly going to give us our hands full for sure Saturday night. We're going to have to play our best to get the result that we want.
We talk about the experience coming back for A&M on that offense for UTSA. A lot of experience, especially on that offensive line.
Yeah, really talented quarterback that can really, really throw the ball. A lot of skilled wide receivers. Big tight end from local here in town that's developed into a really elite football player, and will certainly be an NFL player in my opinion, and then 4 starters back on the offensive line. And so, it's going to be a challenging group for sure for us to go up against.
Funny how seasons go, right? They struggled in the beginning and really found their way at the end. Does that excite a team into looking into, okay, the calendar changes, let's take that momentum into the new year?
Yeah, I think so. I think they were playing their best ball at the end of the season. I think they were, obviously hoping maybe they could play a few more games at the end. And, I'm sure they're fired up about, what they have back and what their potential is and what they believe they can accomplish, and I'm sure they have the same goals as everyone. Their goal is to get in the playoffs and to be the team that represents the group of 4, and they certainly have the talent to go be that team, that Boise State from last year. And so, again, it's going to be a really big challenge for us.
The attention back to Texas A&M can't be lost. Your specialists all come back.
Yeah, excited for that, and really bringing back every single one of them, and bringing back not only our kicker but also our kickoff guy, and our punter Tyler White coming back for another big year, Jacob Graham back at long snapper. And so it's always good when you don't have to worry or stress about what that group is going to look like in their first game, because they've played a lot together.
And those hidden yards, that I know the kick return game's a little bit different, but that punt return, but that can help decide a game, can it?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's important for us in every aspect. But if you walk in our building, you see it very clearly. There's a plan to win kind of stapled everywhere. You walk in the team room, it's on the pillars in the team room. It's painted on the wall. It starts with winning the turnover margin, and then the next thing we go to is winning special teams game changers. And I think those 2 things over the course of time, and certainly the course of me as a head coach, we are 8-1 in games where we've won the turnover margin and won the special teams game changers. And so those things play such a huge role in your success as a program. And so we've got to make sure we take the steps we need forward in special teams. And I think the 2 areas we've really focused on are punt return and field goal block. I think we've got to do a better job of creating runs and yardage in the return game, and I think we've got to be able to affect more kicks this year. I think those would be the 2 that we really focus the most on.
And Jacob Graham, who hit the walk-off home run in the softball game.
Yeah, that was a big one. So it was.
He shouted out his
we're
mom.
not sure if he's come down off of cloud 9 yet since that moment, but no, it was a good summer. It was our kids did a lot. They did a lot together. It was good to see. We hung out a lot. We had a big paintball competition, which was a lot of fun. It was good to get the guys out there. It was hot. Playing paintball in July in Texas is not maybe the smartest thing in the world, but the kids had a lot of fun doing that. We had a softball game, which was great. We had a lot of local people come out for that, a lot of local vendors, and so I think that was awesome. And shout out again to Trish Ford and her squad for coming out and being with us. And it's exciting times. It's exciting times here at College Station. And as we mentioned, other coaches. How about Coach Morrison with a huge opening win
over Minnesota?
And
4 sets.
Continuing to get that program going in a really good direction. And so, it's fun times. It's fun times being here in Aggie land. I think it's a great group of coaches. It's a great group of people. We're certainly excited to kind of hold up our end of this bargain and make sure we put this championship level program out there for everyone to see.
See you on Saturday. Enjoy the house, and a shout out to the Aggie wives, the coaches' wives once again.
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming out tonight.
Thanks
Looking forward to the
here.
season. So thanks for all your support.
It's the Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We'll talk to you 5 o'clock Saturday. It's our Memorial Hermann pregame show, the Aggies and UTSA. So long, everybody. This is Aggie Football from Learfield.
You've been listening to the Aggie Football Hour, brought to you by Capital Farm Credit, a leader in agricultural financing. Also brought to you in part by Coors Light, Mountain Cold Refreshment. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Visit rudys.com to find real Texas barbecue near you. Twisted Tea, hard iced tea for the 12th man. Please drink responsibly. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas. Through it all. And by Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Texas A&M Sports Network.